Hello there. Let's get this checked out. That's good. Good. You. Are you good? That part's good. We seem to be all right. All right. So, I'm doing all right. How about you? Okie dokie. Let's get that going. That stopping. This going. And we'll see what we were trying to get our file selection in a good state. But when this grows... See, I was here last time a few months ago. You had 92 subs only. Congrats for 300 plus. Why, thank you. I appreciate that. Seen a little bit of growth, slowly but surely. It's always good to see. Absolutely. Okay, so we want this to grow more bigger or to constrain this. Either way, I think I would prefer having this grow. Which actually makes me wonder. Yeah, no, it determines that size in a different way. It's probably based on the size of the cells. I need to pull up the docs on the data table again. Let's take a look. I'd lost my job too, did I find? Well, I had a non-tech job or non-dev job for a while, and then I quit because it wasn't paying the bills, and now I gotta find something new. It wasn't paying enough. I didn't like the job. I didn't like the people. I didn't like the company. I didn't remember to turn that off. Let's do that right now so we don't get any more interruptions. But yeah. Double check here. Ah, gotcha. Okay. So there is... Size automatically based on table's contents. I thought there was a way to... So you expanded those. Sorry to hear that. I hope you find a good one soon. I appreciate that. I hope so too. We'll see. I don't know. The layoffs keep on happening, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so we can sort it. Sort column index is non-null. We don't really care about sorting, I don't think. Okay, so I'm not seeing... Maybe it's a different kind of table I was thinking of that you can specify widths. Double check here. Cross-axis alignment for your column to stretch. Okay. We can use a layout builder, get the size of the parent, wrap the data table in a constrained box. Stretch will only... makes the column stretch, it says. Okay, that's fine. So we don't do that. That over there real quick. Okay, we're gonna try the layout builder approach here. We have the container in both cases here. That doesn't make sense, though. It should be able to grow horizontally. We can try, though. Oh, constraints min width. Okay, I see. I see. So they're using min width to make it grow. So if we were to put box around you, it's box constraints is what it is. Oop. And if I just did like something absurd for a quick test, then we need to obviously make that better, driven by the parent size, right? But we can make you grow. Okay. So that's our way forward. Inside of here, can we do the builder here? I think so. We do that, we do that, we do this, we do this. We go down to the end of the column. We leave that in here for just a second because we're still exploring. Oops, that's not the right one. At the end of the column, we got one of them. We got some of that. And then we can say, what if we lifted this constrained box up here? Can we fix that? No, we're good. Okay. We say that the min width, can we base this on the min width of the constraint? Is that going to be... Well, that pushes that out of there, which is not ideal. We would need to also do a max width, I think. That still overflows, though. Just make sure. And we did do... Oh, no, we didn't do. Okay. Um... And it's, overflow? Yes. Ellipsis. This should be text style. And then we can take you and put you in all of these, and hopefully that'll help it to figure out what it's supposed to be doing. Whoops. And you. And you. And you. Okay, now... No. Damn it. Okay, so we expanded... What if I do that? And just say, look, you're the minimum width, always. We still get pushed out. Deeply annoying. For the hell of it, let's take that out. Well, you get pushed out there too. So we have some trubs in general. Data table overflows. Is there something else I'm missing? Somebody's saying fitted box. Okay, so... I forgot to turn that off. Hang on one sec. Alright, that's going to be noisy for a second because it has to fully cycle. The, Oh, we already had a sized box here. Let's take that out. Put that back. I forgot we added him in. Could be part of the problem. Not really sure why that happened. Just make sure, yeah, okay. Super cool. Oh, I bet you my, column, container, no? There we go. That's better. Heater kicked back off. The child is a container. Let's take that out. Okay. If we do that, it'll default that. That'll still push me out, though. It's acting like, you know, I don't think I need any of this stuff. Hopefully not. We've gone kind of far down this potential path. The other thing we could do is oh no. Is there I don't think that's going to help me. Yeah, it's still going to push out. But this should be the constraints of the parent. We got height. We got the row heights, min and max. There is a text style. Ooh, okay. Hang on. What if we take this out? Because obviously it's not helping us. And if it's not helping us, then it's just useless code. So we'll simplify these back down. Because there's a text style for the whole table. Is it data text style? Data text style, yes. Which can be this. What does that get me? Nothing. Okay. The other thing I wonder is if we expand these guys. Ooh. Will that help them to know what size they should be? And therefore fix that issue. Oop. Hello to you as well. Incorrect use of parent data widget. All right. Okay. Duh. Because a row. But these guys are allowed to live inside. This must be a flex widget under the hood. Okay, so that's not going to help us. What if... Can this be expanded? The whole row itself? Would appear not. Why not? Expanded can't be assigned. Oh, because it's a list of data row objects. That makes sense. So I can't expand the text in here. Can we expand the cells themselves? No. Need to be data cells. Okay. Is this Flutter? Yes. Yes, it is. Let's check that just so we don't miss anything else that comes up. Okay, so this approach is clearly flawed. Oh, this is a sized box. What if we make you a constrained box? And we'll call you mid width. And then I've got an extra comma in there. Okay, so that gives us that. Oh, it's very close to being okay. But not quite. And I probably want to do just a little bit less anywho. And do the max as the same. I want to kick that back up to 60 though, I think. I think. So it's still going to push me out of my box there. But I'm wondering, if I take you out now, will you respect that parent setting or no? No is the answer. Okay, interesting. Let's take that out. Put it back on you. After the container. But then we lose one here. Okay, perfect. It's still going to extend out. Huh. Okay. That's deeply annoying. That's what that is. I don't think it matters that there's a container inside of it, but let's just check it to be 100% sure. Yeah. Still overflows. All right, so let's think here. I don't think can I do is there a header in the not data table but the table widget? Hmm. Yeah, people just manually build a header row when they do this, apparently. Which we could do as long as... Okay. What if we tried converting you over to a table? Would that be nicer? Because then we wouldn't need this as well. We could do the decoration within the table itself, I believe. Just double check the docs here. Orders. Default column width is a flex. That's fine. Okay. Let me move this over so I can still see stuff. Let me do this. We're going to ditch all of this for a hot second. We'll see how much, if any, of it comes back. Okay. Gets us down to just the data table there. Perfect. And that, let's just double check for sanity. Well, it doesn't overflow now because it's allowed to get big. It does have wonky spacing. Okay. We're going to get rid of that. This will be now just a table instead of a data table. It needs border. We'll start there. It needs column widths. And this... I think we can leave this as default because they're saying it was flex, right? I think we're okay there. We have default vertical alignment. What is that defaulted to? Vertical alignment top. So let's do vertical alignment middle, not center. Okay, then. And then instead of columns, we have children. It's actually going to be instead of rows. And children is a list of table row widgets. Okay, perfect. Inside of a table row, we have children, which are just widgets. So we can take out that like so. How do we like how that's shaping up? Okay. Let's bring back our sized box or constrained box for the parent and see if we can get closer to where we want it to be. Did I... Oh, you know, I need a max width here as well. Otherwise it tries to grow. Okay, so... I got an issue. It's just... oh, right, I forgot to close you, duh. So after the column here... Like so, that'll work. Okay, so... At least it doesn't squish out of it. We need to fix that a little bit. But... Let's give you a little bit more room to breathe. That's not bad. We're going to want to make this guy smaller. But we have that ability with a table that we didn't have before. Is there a way to align this guy? Vertical alignment, column width. Well, maybe, hang on. If we go, maybe we don't need to worry about that. If we do a column widths here, which we have, it's a map of int table column width. If I could type, there we go. This can be a const, I think. So 0 column, flex column width, right? 1, flex column width. Let them figure themselves out. And then 2 is going to be intrinsic column width. So it sizes to the size of that field. Okay. That's a lot closer to what I want. Is there a way for me to give it a padding inside of here? Text direction. Not there. Decoration. Table row decoration? Let's see what we can come up with here. Data table has column spacing. Looks like no. So we need to instead either wrap all of these guys in a padding or there's really no spacing in here. Unless it's in decoration. What is decoration supposed to be? Decoration. That's going to be a base class, I bet. Yeah, or an abstract class, yeah. Concrete subtype. Is there a table row decoration? No, there isn't. What could I use in you? Box decorators. Looks like it's just box decoration is probably the only applicable one here. I don't think that's going to give me padding. We can do a padding widget. Let's do symmetric here. And then just a little horizontal. They'll still wrap, but that's probably okay. We could also experiment with saying, putting our style in here again. And then saying overflow, flow, ellipsis. And see if that respects that setting. It does. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So it's annoying that we got to put them on all of them, but annoying and getting what I want, I will take. Over annoying and not having what I want. So I'll pad them, give them the overflow. We don't want it to be, you know, usable really is not our concern at this level. Like, you're not supposed to be this small. It's just graceful degradation and not having things look like crap, right? Let's also give them like half as much vertical. Wrong character there. Just to give them a little bit of room to breathe around them so they don't look so cramped up. This is technically not needed, but we're going to do it anyway because the size is the row based on whoever's bigger. So we can do that. Thinking I might want to make that just a tiny bit more bigger. Give it a little bit more room. Okay, that's shaping up very well. Our border. Do I want symmetric? Border width, border color. Gives me just that, but I actually don't. Rid of that. I want you. Oop. So we don't have that extra line at the top. And this should, if I'm not mistaken, we need another... That's the wrong button. Not you. Server, config, maps. Just chuck a couple copies in here. Okay, so that we can see what we're working with here. I want... Let's see here. I could do... We can do another table row here. In theory. We probably still need a padding. Let's... And our horizontal was 10. And I think our... Not 100, thank you. We did 10, 10, right? Yeah. Okay, so... Let's fix this up really quick. Vertical. I need to make that... These need to be doubles. Like so. Okay. This guy, though... What if we just doubled up? But use the correct one. Doubled it in both cases. Oop, yep, I didn't give you a child. Child is going to be, I put you in the wrong spot. You. This is just going to be a text that says, what was our first one? It was the file name, right? Yes. And then we're going to duplicate this whole fella here twice. You are map name. I think file name is 2 words. We'll find out here in a second. I'll look it up. And then this is map size. Okay. And that gives us a little bit of... Let's see here, border. Border side. Border width. Oop. Border color. I think I want... a little bit more... I want more still, but that's going to throw this off. If we just leave you at vertical. Oops, I need to change all of those, otherwise it won't apply. Could also do... this. I could bring you down here. Will that center, though? Oop. Nope, because it has to have the same number of children. So I would need... I think a size box would be fine. Without a size, just as a placeholder. Maybe. Just need that. That's important. And then here, box decoration has a color property. This one. And then I can get rid of that. We probably want to give him padding, though. Let's just start him up with the same padding as other normal cell. And see how we like it. And if we're going to do that, it'll stretch that side border up a little bit, which looks a little bit weird. A little on the fence about that. But if we were to... do this. Brain fart. There we go. Oh no, that would put it on all the cells. We don't want that. That's not good. So we need to go back to this. Go back. Go back. Back to that. And then we just need one on the top as well. I don't completely hate that. We need to get the... mousing over and clicking to be a thing, though. Let me double check my docs. Cancel that, please. Thank you. And make sure that there isn't already something we can hook into here. Doesn't look like it. Am I allowed? Well, let me double check. Huh. If somebody says, I don't think you can do this, you can use, I guess, you can use data table instead. Well, doesn't wrap well when the screen width is smaller. Same exact problem we just had. Gosh, that's bright. Table row inkwell. Okay. But then that doesn't like that. Am I allowed to just say that you take a list of widgets? No. I'm not. I can put this inside of the row, but will that screw up everything? I wonder. Let's put it on the correct place anyway while we're here, which would be down here. Children, inkwell. But that can only have one child, which is fine. Doesn't seem to be working. Inkwells need a material ancestor. Which they do theoretically have material app ancestor, but how far up can it be before things don't work well? That doesn't seem to work either. Take you back out really quick here. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see. I don't think I can do this because, yeah, you're not going to be... You're not a table row. So I'd have to put you around all of these. Still not... Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. Am dumb. It's because you don't have on tap given to you. Okay. So obviously this is the only place where it works, but it stretches. Ah, that seems really gross to do. Theoretically, I could do this. It's gross, though. Like, why? Ugh. Ugh. Why? Why this? Inkwell for a table row. Like, why aren't you just a table row if that is the case, you know? And you only allow a single child. Ugh. Ugh. Hmm. Hey, look. An open thing for Flutter. Add tap handlers to table row. List tile. Have tap handler in each cell. Table row inkwell. Get children, table cells. To a map, to a list. Okay. So it appears that this gross answer is kind of like the way currently. Gross. Deeply, deeply gross. But it gets us the behavior we want at least. Because like any of these should be targetable, right? Ugh. Okay. I'll go with it. Do I have the ability... Well, this wouldn't add padding. Well, maybe. Symmetric. Vertical. Just give it like a 20. That one. That puts a padding outside of you. I was afraid of that. Need you to come out. This needs to go... There's no way to do that without putting in a dummy. That's annoying. Can I omit the column, seeing as this is now its own thing? It would appear so. Oh, you know what? The other thing here is... we're going to want to be able to filter. We'd also would like these to be centered within their at the top, the within their cells. Like so. No, maybe not. Maybe I don't like that. Nope. That looks gross. We'll go back to that. I also need to... cut that back. That'll make things line up a little bit better. Concerned that if this list gets long, you're going to want to filter. And a filter isn't terribly hard to build, but... where to put it. Maybe we don't do that just yet. Maybe it won't become an issue. We'll see. We'll see. I believe this will still be a scrollable, so that should be okay. We'll see if it becomes unwieldy. We'll let experience guide us, basically, right? Okay, so we need to set up, we have on select map. So in here, except for you can be. We'll just do that. Like so. It's gross, but that's what we have available to us. I don't know why it adds that extra one. Anywho. So that when we do this, everything still works. And these being copies actually do open. Let me chuck those copies right quick. Okay. Let's go with that for right meow. I'm not in the right directory. There we go. Okay. What's next on our list of things? Now that we got that kind of where I want it, or close to anyway. I think it's going to be saving. Creating new maps as well. What do I want to do about that? Do I want to put that down here at the bottom? I could do. Or would I rather put it somewhere else? Because when you first load into Map Editor, it puts you here, which is correct. Hmm. Could do. But we don't have access to... No, we could. We could pass it down. That's not terrible. We would need to... Renaming requires you to already exist. I believe. Yeah. Would it be a file data controller thing or a map thing? It's going to be a file data controller thing, I think. That makes sense to me. So... But that's going to require us to marshal. Or so we don't support resizing, right? Meow. We could open a new map in the editor, but we need something to allow you to resize that eventually. Or to just, pick a size now. And resizing is going to be a little bit of a bear. So we're going to put that off. We need to... How do I want to do this? I could just do a temporary... Let's let map controller do it. Because we're going to want to build it in memory, basically. It's going to be empty, but it's going to have the empty cells, right? And they're going to have their correct types. So basically, we need to look at map controller if we're going to do this. Which lives in here. So we can load a map from a file path. But map data. Returns a list of errors, right? Load warnings, yeah, okay. Let's do this. Oop. We do that. Then we've kind of split apart, right? Our bits and pieces here. We need this in here still. the load now, though. So we do all this, and then we say inflate map, the map data. And then this becomes a private function. Let's put him... I guess it was pretty close to the private section anyway. Make sure that this is all organized really quick while we're here. Yeah, okay. And then what we can do... Do I want to do... I think I want to put this into the inflate. Ooh, except for that. That can live here still. And then what I can do is have... It's a new map data. It gets a new ID. I need you to also... we can have a name that's optional. Let's do these as named. Oop. And what are you mad about? Oh, right. Yeah, required string file path. Those are required. Like so. Let's see, is there anything else we need to... No. Everything else should default. I believe we handled that correctly. Let's find out, right? Okay, so you give me those parameters, and then I inflate map. Ooh, do I want to... Yeah, map data. Do I want to return errors here? What sort of errors do we return? Because there's nothing in there, I think that's going to be fine. Let me make sure Oh yeah, I forgot to do Flutter upgrade. That's a thing. Make sure no tests are broken. They shouldn't be. Yeah, okay, good. Perfect. Perfect. Now how do I want to display this? I'm starting to think I want to pull map state out of here just for visual organization, but we'll put that off for a second. So this has access to the map controller. I can reach into it from outside, but I don't think I want to do that. I think I want a new map here. This needs to take basically the same arguments we're going to require. Map controller, new map. So let's make these also named parameters just to help us this is required. This is defaulted. Same signature basically. We create a new map, and then we say we make sure that we toggle that. This is actually going to be true because nothing has saved it yet. We have set everything up. We've inflated the empty map. Unsafe tile change is going to be false. Notify listeners. Except I also need you where do we use this at? I think I need you to return me a map data. What? Oh, duh. So I inflate it, and then I return it. Now, ooh, except for you're not a file data. So maybe I don't need you to return me this. Maybe you can still be void. What I can do instead is do this. Let's make this instead of file path. we're going to make this name. And that's going to be required. And then what we're going to do... because we have map directory path. We can join that. I took out my path. Oop. Let's say not map directory. We don't have a controller. Our file data controller has the file extension. If I put you in here, wrong file. Oop. Can I not? Why isn't that accessible? If I do that, it should automatically create my getters and setters under the hood. But it doesn't. Oh, I'm dumb. It's fine. Well, hang on. That, because I did map file data, not map file data controller. So if you don't have the extension, then I can just string build you here like so. As long as I remember my squirrely braces there. Except I think what I want to do here is probably is grab extension here from this. This goes to name. Then I'm going to place all, whatever the extension is, with nothing, and then do that. Just to be sure no wonkiness happens there. Then I do that. This goes in here now. Ooh, except crap. I just put an extension on you, and I don't necessarily want that to be. Okay, so we're going to want to do a couple things here. If this isn't an empty string, so it has an extension, then we're going to start checking this. File name will be this. File name will be that. Okay. Otherwise, and also I need to double check here, map name. This is going to be map name. Map name is this. Map file name will be the map name plus the extension. Okay, perfect. If it does have no extension, then map name will be name, and file name is the same. And here, if the extension exists and it is already, replace whatever the extension is. Like that. Okay, theoretically. And then we join map directory path, file name. Let's leave myself a note here. So, sure, we have a file name with extension, a map name without. And name is required, so we always have something in there. We join the file name like so. Map file data path is new map file path. File name is file name. Map name, map name. No. Wait. Path is path. Why do I require... Oh, it's because... Yeah, okay. Right. That's file name. This is map name. Okay. Okay. And then we set our goodies. Okay. So unless I've screwed up, now in map pane here. Ooh, no, it's gonna, well, yes, but so we need to wire up everything here. Oh gosh, sorry, Terrace. You were hiding behind my my deal here. How's the Flutter today? Flutter goes well. Is this open source? Not yet. Do I use any AI? Absolutely not. Started to use Gemini button in Chrome to read my PRs. Like other people's PRs? Your PRs. Why? You wrote them. You should know what they say, right? I have a habit of reviewing my own PRs. Okay. Use Gemini as a second opinion? I guess. Okay, so we need to hook up through map pane to map selector. So we need to put, firstly, a button in here. We could just do, like I was thinking... We have our rows here. We could borrow this row here. After our loop where we build all these guys. Bum, 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 bum. Another one here, but instead of in the middle, we put you at the end. We just have our placeholders. And instead of a text, we have an icon. No. Text button, maybe? Let's see. New map. No. We also don't want this. There we go. I don't want a text button. I guess I could do a floating action button. Ooh, except for you go into the little column if I do that. Okay, so maybe it's not a good idea to put them inside the table, but... So we would need a column again if we're going to do this. That's probably fine. So we got our table. The end of the table is the end of the column. We do this. Like so. This can all go away again. Okay, now you live in the middle, but... if I put a row here for you to live in... then I have the ability to say main axis alignment, put you at the end so that you live over there. You need to be extended is the one, I think. Oop, except for that makes you not child. What are you? Label. Hate that that API is different. That puts it there. I'm okay with that. Let's do... oop, not capital. Symmetric. Not horizontal, vertical. 20, let's just say. And then close the padding. So we have a little bit of room. Do I have CI configured like running builds test? No, not yet. The linting and the formatting all for Go, it's Go format or Go fumped, as some people, including Rob Pike, say. The Dart formatting is whatever Dart's internal Dart fumped is. I don't remember what it's called. And then here, so we can go and say, it doesn't need to have anything, I don't think, on new map. Make it optional, basically. On new map. And then up here, or over here rather, in map pane, we've already done that. That's all well and good. We need to go to our... If you're not null, we do that. Otherwise, map selector on new map. Map state, new map. But here's where we need stuff. This expression of void, but that should be void. Fine then, I'll put you in here. We can hard code this to 1010 for now, for the size. The name, though, we need to get... I guess we could test it with just some hard-coded stuff. Would I start another project using Dart or Flutter? Yes. I like it a lot more than I like React and that ecosystem. So, That creates us a new blank map that's 10 by 10. We just need to have a better answer for that, for the UI, because hard coding, obviously, not copacetic. And if we close, yeah, we discarded our changes. Perfect. Nothing should have been written into our... Where are you? Server, config, maps. Yeah. No additional file was written yet because nothing saves yet. We need... either... It's going to have to be in the map selector if we want to do it this way. Which I'm okay with. Like, that's not terrible. But we need to either throw up a modal or modal, whatever you want to pronounce it as, or do like a form below here or something to fill in the name and the size. I think a modal for this one is correct. I like not having it for the editing details that we did. Or, actually, what if we just hard set you to new map and then you can change it now? This does create a problem. A couple problems, actually. This will fail to apply if we change the name. Because we only change names to existing maps. So we either have to feed that back or immediately commit to writing the map to file. And I think the answer is going to be immediately commit to writing it to file. That's what I think. Yeah. There's a couple things to do here, though. We don't want spaces in file names, really, I don't think. Or do we? Like, everything supports it now, but... we also want to, just cleanse that of any extraneous spaces. I think we want to add a validator that makes sure that the path has the correct extension and feed that back to the user. But only if you try to like do txt or something, it's like, yeah, you may have JSON or you may omit a path. or an extension, and it'll add JSON for you. The other thing we need to do is allow for deleting. Um, which I think we're just going to add a column and give buttons like we have been. I think I'm okay with that. Yeah. Yeah. But my coffee is gone. I need to use the restroom, and I need to grab another beverage. So I'll be right back, I think. And we're about to run into some ads anyway, so I think I'm just going to trigger them a couple minutes early. So I'll be right back. Good time for a break. Here we go. Are you going to go? Go now. There we go. There we go. All right. Well, just in time for the ads to be over. Let's take a look here really quick, actually. Let's see what it's supposed to get up to today. 57 and sunny. It has been a rather chilly weekend again. But I'll take 57 over 25 all day. Any day. That was not enough degrees. Oh, I was just noticing that it was kind of chilly in here. The sun hasn't really had a chance to warm things up just yet. All right. So, we need deletes. We need saves. Let's go ahead and do a commit here. Because, let's see, controller, data controller. Yes, that makes sense. We changed the const there. Map editor. I think I want to move the naming stuff into map data controller, but we'll get there. Editor, map pane, maps, yes. Add support for creating new maps. Okay. And we can just like default to 10 by 10, and then when we add the ability to resize them, that'll take care of that for us. And then we'll kind of develop some guidelines for like map sizes as we go, and start using the tool for real. Okay. Let's do... I keep coming back to thinking that this should be just all part of map controller. I'm still on the fence about that. But for right now, let's do... and also this. Because that's going to move some logic for us. That shouldn't really be over here, I don't think. We want to, and we can establish testing around this as opposed to over here, right? So a name... Let's do... We'll trim it first. Let's do this. It'll be nicer. Place all, name. Or not name, extension with empties. I think I'll trim that after. And then the map name, It's actually going to look similar at the start. We allow spaces and whatever in the map name itself. That's fine. If it's not an empty string, and if it's not equal to our file extension, then we need to place all extension with an empty string. Oops, there we go. And then build it back up. Let's trim you after we do that. Just to make sure there's no wonky happening. After all of that, we're going to replace all of our spaces with, let's say, underscores. But I probably... this. Ooh. I need to look at my docs for regex again on Dart. Where are you, window? Here you are. Let's close this. Don't need that. Dart regex. Regex. Okay, yeah, that's correct. It says source, but that does seem to be the pattern. So we do. That's not a string literal. It's a space. As long as I'm not misremembering. Let's make sure. Old friend regex 101. I believe it uses the JavaScript. I've put the slash the wrong way around. Nope, I did it right over there. Okay. Yes, that is the space, and that should also cover weirdo stuff, like a tab, which I can't do here because it gets hijacked. I guess I could do one or more, but I'm replacing all. Let's just go with that. And as there should be any white space characters, so it should cover tabs, but we can easily make sure of all of that. We'll go over here to our map file data controller test, and we can just go ahead and add. Bum, 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 bum. I wish these would stay. Okay. I'm just going to copy the outside. We're going to test a format map name extension is removed. I don't need any of that. So we'll do that's fine. that. Wait, did I not put you? File data controller. Can't be accessed. Oh, because... can I do... How do I do that in Dart? Because that'd be just like a static in like C# or something. Static method. Yeah, okay, it is still just static. Okay, cool. Oop. There we go. You take input. Perfect. Expect. Result. Expected. That. Get over there. There we go. All right, let's go that. Let's go that. Done with that. We'll leave that open. And we're good. Let's see here. Let's also test. White space is removed. Wait, we don't, on end, yeah. That should all be good still. Run ya. Brilliant. Let's see, anything else? Let's do white space in middle is preserved. So if we were to have that, it should get cleaned up to that. Just like so. See if I've messed up. And I haven't. Fantastic. Or at least not in a way I've thought to check. Let's now do format file name. Let's say incorrect directory, or not directory, extension is removed. So if I was to have txt, I would expect that to come out as JSON. And I think I want to rename this to just format file name. We're in map file data controller, so we should know what we're doing. And we're good there. Brilliant. Let's see here. We need to... This should actually be replaced. Leading and trailing white space removed. Should just get trimmed out nice and easy. No, it didn't though. Did I forget? I only trimmed when I was replacing. Let's trim you at the start as well. Okay. It's because white space got... Why didn't you get trimmed then? Because I forgot to do this in both cases. That's why we check. Okay, perfect. Leading and trailing white space removed. We also want to do incorrect extension and wonky white space. Actually, let's do so if you do some kind of craziness here, we should just clean it all up. Looks good to me. Let's throw a... If you were to, for some reason, have that... It didn't handle it correctly. Okay. We ended up replacing that. I bet you if we were to do this, it would work, though. It would. Okay. Let's... make sure that we don't regress that. Like, the chances of that happening are kind of slim, but, like, it could, right? We don't want to break things. Pardon me. Okay. Can I do multi-assign? Let's see. Am I allowed to do that? I could do that, I think. But I already have the extension. I could swap all that out. And I could do that. Okay. So we trim the file name itself. What are you mad about? Must be assigned, but you are assigned. Okay. So let's not do this then. If it's going to get ugly like that, we'll put you back. So we have the extension, and then place all extension with that. So we basically split you apart. Do I want to do that? It seems kind of wonky. I can get base name without extension. Ooh, except for, is that going to give me my full... Nope, yep, that's perfect. Okay. After last separator without entering the file extension. So... I can just call trim on... Trime? I can just call trim on that directly. My extension is this. Then my... My file name... Actually, I don't even need to care about what the extension was. I need to... I need just to replace all the spaces inside of you that aren't at the ends. We just trimmed you off with that. And then return... file extension. Like that. That should pass all of these, and I'm just going to run the whole set so I can get all the new ones too. Yeah. Just chuck the extension. Don't care what it was. I'll rebuild it. That way we don't have to mess around with... I don't even need to grab the extension. I just chuck out whatever there was because I need to parse the name out or clean the name up anyway. So fine. All right. Now let's do format file name, white space, in name is replaced. So if I was to do test name, it would get turned into test name, like so. Seems all right to me. Let's see, what other things do we need to abuse? White space before extension. Before incorrect. How about a malformed? if I was to like just be crazy with it like that, what would happen? Is path smart enough? I hope it is. It is. Okay, brilliant. Love that. Let's say so put that back. But if you were to like give me, I don't know, something stupid like that, I bet you this breaks. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what we need is basically any non let me just grab this and this for the sake of regexing. We would want this to be limited to something like A to Z, A to Z, or 0 to 9. That would grab all of that. And then even if you were to do crazy stuff. Do we want to allow dashes? Hey, thanks for a follow. I appreciate that. Do we want to allow dashes? How's the project? It goes all right. I think I'm okay with allowing dashes. You can kebab case your file names if you want. Is there anything else? Tests look pretty clean. Appreciate it. I do enjoy some testing. Make sure I've not done anything stupid, you know. If we do... Yeah. I'm pretty big into testing. Me too. Like, it sucks. I hate it, but I also love it, you know? Okay, let's see here. Ooh, right, because we replaced you. Yeah, I'm okay with that outcome. We can do that. That's fine. Can't really code without them. I mean, yeah, yes and no, you know? It's easy to waste a lot of time if you don't write some. I kind of mix it up a little bit. Like I don't do full TDD. Sometimes like this one, I went and wrote all this and then added test without after the fact, which is fine, you know. Ugh, my camera's gone blurry. me fix that. The edge cases I didn't catch right. But also I had a really good idea of what I wanted to write already, and also like what the inputs and outputs would be, and you know, I'm sure purists of TDD would hate me for it, but they can be mad. It's okay. I do TDD the majority of the time. Gotcha. Lately, I've had a lot of theories in my tests. What do you mean by theories? All right. Now we need to move this over here. So instead of not you over here, multiple runs of the same test. You mean like a table driven test or something like that? Parameterized test? Yeah, okay. I have a mixed relationship with them. Sometimes it makes a great deal of sense. Like, you could argue that I could have made this a table-driven test, or a parameterized test, but I tend not to do them unless it's a huge list of things, right? Mostly just because I find them harder to work with and to debug and think about. So if it's only a couple cases, then I usually just write them single. But I've also worked with stuff that took like external CSV files and ran them through, and that gets even worse. So maybe I'm prejudiced against them because of that experience. Okay, over here. Instead of these two things, we're going to say, not that. We're going to format the map name with that, and then this. We're going to format file name with that. That'll clean up all of this. And we should have all of the same behaviors. So if I create you, I get new map, and I get new map JSON. Perfect. Love it. Cancel that, close that. Was that consultants? They have a name for that? No. I feel like they called them approval tests or something like that. No, they were just, it was an old, not old, but like, so it was for a product, and the company had been around for a long time. And at some point in time, they decided that they needed integration end-to-end, just end-to-end. These were only end-to-end, but end-to-end testing, and they wanted to make it in Python and write a testing framework for it and all this other stuff. And so it was like a shared code base because different teams own different parts. So they would say, hey, go write your end-to-end test for your piece of the puzzle in Python. Yeah, not Gherkin, Python. Go write your tests and put it in this project, and theoretically this thing runs on everything. And so it was weird because you had a lot of different Like, there was Python written with a C accent. There was Python written with a C sharp accent. There was Python written with a I don't give a damn about this project at all accent. We have some robot framework tests that have Python in it. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. It was a big mixed code base with a lot of different people's varying levels of competence involved. And yeah. Those tests are very expensive, take a long time to run, and don't find many bugs. Well, I don't know if you're talking about yours or about these in general. We found a reasonable amount of bugs with them because it was a pretty big and pretty complex product. It said they're absolutely loved because it's viewed the bugs are real. Yeah. Yeah. And they exercised, as long as you put the time into them, they exercised a lot of interconnected parts, right? Which is kind of why they almost felt like integration tests, but the names of tests kind of get muddy. It was technically end to end, but there was a lot of integration testing that happened as part of it, right? So I was a big fan of them. They were slow. They were very slow, but it was good to have at the end. Think about unit tests or any good kind of good test. They're fast. So yes, reducing the feedback cycle for sure. But if the time to discover bugs in test suite is really long, it's a bad thing, right? But like, if you have to do a full build of the thing to end test all the bits and pieces, like there's just no way around that. But when it's running in the background, you do a push, and if it alerts you, 45 minutes, an hour later, it's not ideal, but it's better than nothing, It was a very mixed bag. I think there was a lot of value in them still. But it was the sort of lack of attention and belief in them from some people really hurt that value. Still think there's some values attributed a lot less value than some members of the team did. Yeah. It was definitely a case of there was less value per hour, I guess you could say, in maintaining them. But there was still enough to justify them, in my opinion. Okay. These, I think, we're done with. It's time for a commit. Data controller, editor, controller test, yes. Move file and app name formatting to map file data controller. Consume it in the new map function. Alrighty then. Now, let's see, what else do we need here? We need deleting and then saving. And I think we're going to do saving first because that'll make it easier to test deleting. Ooh, the other problem we're going to have is if a name is the same. That we're going to put in the map controller because it's going to handle saving a map. Yeah. Okay. Map controller. We need you to be smart enough to save a map. Now, map data. Let's see here. Because we kind of unpack everything and inflate it into this controller. Do I want to just create a new map data? Probably. That's probably the answer. Let's put you over here. And because I have a table of rooms... Ooh, but you're just IDs and coordinates. Do I want to... Does this mud work? I assume it's not running anywhere. No, it's still early days. So I'm building the map editor. So this is just a test map where all the rooms are connected for the sake of, you know, UI development, basically. But the ability to build a map and to edit a map with its various room descriptions and the connections and all that good stuff in a visual way seemed important to me, because editing a raw JSON representation of the map would suck. So I'm building the tools. What about hidden rooms? Ah, yes. Yes, indeed. The rooms support the ability to spot and use them. So hidden rooms or rooms that you need a skill to access. We have that ability. And that's part of why connections are a separate thing. And they get associated to the rooms like so when we inflate everything. Because I didn't want you to, like, okay, let's say you need to be able to see mobs and stuff, manual or done through your map editor. Mobs don't exist yet. But they will come into the editor when they're ready, when I build them. But part of the reason that rooms, connections are kind of their own concept that is not real, so to speak, like there's no tile, is because I didn't want you to say, okay, well, you need to be able to have, to have a perception check, or if I click on the right one, of, 20 to see this room into this corner right here, right? If you go in there, you should be able to get back out without making that check, right? So that is why they're kind of built the way they are. Do death traps exist? Traps don't exist at all yet. I have characters that don't persist, but you can log into them, and then you can move around the map and see the rooms and other characters, basically, is where I'm at. Death trap rooms are terrible back in the day. Right, yeah. Anything that people basically quit the game when they were hit, yeah. Anything that, like, robs you of your, I guess, agency would be, the term these days. Like, anything that takes control away from the player, I'm generally against. I don't like crowd control, stuff like that against players, unless it's very, very, very brief, right? Or, traps where you can't somehow salvage the situation, right? You're doomed to watch yourself die. Like, that's not fun, in my opinion. So, like, traps are cool. And, having that sort of consequence is cool, but not something that just ends you and makes you do a corpse run or whatever, That's not fun to me. So whatever I build probably won't have that. What I played in, if you walked into a death trap room, you died instantly, could never get the stuff back. Yeah, that's not fun to me at all. Like, unless it says in big, huge, you know, neon letters, you will die if you go here. Like, if you stand in the lava, you should probably die pretty quick, right? But also, everything in the world should tell you, don't stand in the fucking lava. But also, like, what is the gameplay value of that, right? What is the purpose of that room then? So, like, why bother if it's just there to kill you for no reason? Generally, the title of the room was Certain Death in caps versus regular case. Okay, well, I guess that's, you know, you've heard of the DPS check. I guess that's the RPS, reading per second check. But, like, what's the point, you know? Like, what are you doing that for? What is the skill challenge or the gameplay reason for that? Okay, what was I doing? Saving. I think we're done with you for a hot second here, map model. So we have the list, but these are just the coordinates. And we use that mostly for working with connections and connecting them to rooms and all that. I wonder, it might just be like... Assume there's no game state. How do you keep track of the data? There's no game state yet. There's stubbed in places where it should be. It needs to have state saving, right? But right now it's just not in. It's backed by a MongoDB database right now, just because I don't need relational stuff. I need just flat files, basically, you know? And the options for, like, on-disk databases that are a little bit like SQLite are all relational as far as I've been aware, or licensed. And I don't want to pay a license to use the thing. I asked because I had to have the concept of a session for some website I was making as my side project. Well, that's a little different. It uses WebSockets, so sessions more or less take care of themselves. If you're connected, you're connected. I need to build logic for reconnecting if you get disconnected, but... But when you're connected, you got data flowing back and forth. Let's see here. Maybe I just go through my map list and just write it. Maybe that's the safest way. Room tiles that are empty are null. Connection tiles that are empty are not. But... we have you... We can marshal you. Can we go through... I'm done in that. Yeah, we go through that list and we write them. So we just need to build up the map. All the pieces are in place, more or less. We need to build up a new map model based on the current state here. And then we'll just write it. We can marshal it here. So we need like a map data. Current state is a map data. Did we store our UUID? I hope so. We didn't? Really? Inflate map. Huh, okay. I guess you just haven't used it yet. That's fine. You need to be nullable. Or... Is there a 0? There used to be a nil. Please use the namespace enum. Enum start instead. What? UUID namespace now. Namespace enum start instead. Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me either. enums.dart. This is the same. Show me the other. Let's take a look. At you. We're done with that for now. We're done with that for now as well. Let's clean that up while we're here. Okay, so... Lowercase variant. It did say enums, right? Namespace enum and enum start instead. Namespace. It's very odd. From namespace. That? Seems weird. That's pretty terrible. But the alternative is that I would need to make it nullable and then null check it all the time. Or whenever I clear it, though, I'd have to make it that and then check it against nil. So I might as well just make it nullable. It's going to suck either way, because this API is just kind of wonky. But it's what we got. Which reminds me, I again forgot to update Flutter. Oh well. Let's do that really quick. What is the command? There's downgrade, upgrade. It's upgrade, not update. Okay. While we're here, we might as well see if anything breaks. And we'll do our dependencies too while we're here. It's bigger than I would have expected. Tell you what, I'm going to use the restroom while this upgrades, and I'll be right back. All right. There we go. Camera is blurry again. Let me fix that. Seems to really forget how to focus when I step away. More so than normal. Here we go. And we're still actually updating. Cool, 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 cool. At least we're down to the Android stuff now. Hope there's not too many more of them. Okay, web. Good. Okay, GTK tools, excellent. Excellent. Okay. Let's also do upgrade. Hey, we shed a dependency. Awesome. Okay, everything should be constrained versions that are older. Okay. Let's just do it. And hope for the best. And if not, we can back things up. And then we'll just run a test again to make sure everything's still working. And then it'll take a second. There we go. All tests passed. That's a good sign. Project contains issues. What do we got here? Let's see. Nice Telnet mud map? No, it's not. This is just the terminal. The editor. I'll have to give it a second to rebuild because it's not telling me what it wants to do. That's the editor. And it is very much a GUI. What are you going to do? If I let you... I'm a little sus that the command line tool threw errors. I'm going to leave that one alone. Okay. Map controller. Oh. Alright, we're done in there for a hot second. Tell Ryder to hurry up. No, it's not Ryder, it's IntelliJ. Let's see here. Yes, lock and YAML. YAML shouldn't even, or the lock shouldn't even be in source control, I don't think, but It's in there now. We'll leave it for now. Update Flutter dependencies. Push that up. Java? Nope. Flutter. Dart. Okay. Back to what I was doing before I was sidetracked by updating dependencies. Pop that off real quick. And we'll restart that because it'll get upset. Tried using Writer, but it kept trying to type for me. It got too annoyed and used a console-based. Cool. Okay. Alrighty then. So we've got our map ID stored now. Well, we have the provisions to store it. We need to actually store it. We're going to do that whenever we inflate a map, because that takes the map data. And we made up a new ID here when we did that, so that's fine. Map ID. This is the wrong place. It needs to be in here. Map ID. Map data. UUID. This can't be null if you have provided it to me. We also need to, when we close a map, that's fine. That can stay as it is. But when we close a map, update tile, where did you go? Load map, close map. We need to make sure that we null that out. Perfect. Okay. New map does that. So everything's hooked up. We now have map ID available to us here when we go to save you. What else is in map data here? I don't suppose I have a... yeah, no context. Okay. We need... the name is equal to map name. We need size X. Okay, this is going to be tricky, though. Because map size gets set when we load. When we initialize you, we set our map size here to the actual UI size. We need to either either save it or recalculate it. We have an offset. We could... we do set that, which is static right now at 2.2, but in theory, we should be able to do that. But that's going to be a double, and we only accept ints. We can do this, I suppose. Map size couldn't be null at this point. Do I want to do that, though? As long as I correctly initialize, we shouldn't end up with odd sizing. We do need to figure out how we want to handle that, or if we just say, hey, look, you have to be even. I think we'll leave it for now. I think it's okay. It may bite us later. We'll figure it out at the time. The rooms now. The rooms and the connections. We could do not caps lock. Put that in the right place. Map can't be null if we're in here. Could do this. We need to make sure, if we do, we have we can go through the whole thing because we have the rooms in there. If they're null, then they're null. If they are a room table or a room tile, then it's a room tile. And then we have a base class for connection tiles, I believe. That's my test. I don't want that. Or connection tile base, yeah. Connection tile, okay. Or I could go through these guys, but then I still have to pull the coordinates out. And this gives me the parent room ID. I think connection data. Yeah, I think we're just gonna go through the list. It'll be simpler. Otherwise, I have to reach into the map anyway and pull the data out of it. So I might as well just go through. If it's null, continue. Um, the we can just switch. Instead, if we have a default, if it's neither null or then we get some kind of crazy. If it's not null room or connection, unexpected. Oop. Let me get that out of there real quick. Unexpected child type found in map. Don't know if runtime type is going to work outside of debug, but that's probably the only place we should see this anyway. I think I'll leave it there. It'll be fine, I hope. So we can swap this out. Case room data. Then we do current state rooms add. You can't be null. We want to make sure that you exist. Same with connections. Over here, do we... We don't. Oop. And you can't be null. We just checked you. To make sure we don't write empty crap to the file. You need to be that. We do the same thing here. But we also need to know that you're not empty. So we want to make sure we also don't have our but these are Difficulty check. So we need to say, if this isn't null, we need to marshal that. The same thing with use DC. And I need to make double check. Oh, I need the skills too. But I called you spot skill? I don't know. I did, okay. And these guys have a skill ID. Okay. So as long as I've handled this correctly, then marshaling these should fix it. Fix it all up to where if this is empty, it doesn't write it. If this is present, it writes it. Let me double check that. To JSON skill ID. Nope. Okay, yeah. Okay. Because it's mandatory to have an ID if you exist. So we write that. If this is not 0, then we write that. Okay. But this should be... crap. How is this even marshaling or unmarshaling? Because three one to 2-1. Rest to 2-1. You do unmarshal. Oh, it's because we don't unmarshal you using this. Ugh. What I would need to do... we unmarshal here and create the object. Apparently I forgot to fix that up. We could build... We could take this out. But if we're going to have this control this, then we should just do that. We can still have a clone. That's fine. What we would do here then... we would just write the skill ID here for spot skill. And the same for use skill. And then we do the same thing here with spot DC, right? Yeah. Those both need to be as string. I think. This shouldn't be or. This should be and. This is use, not spot. And if it's 0, then we just ignore it. Like so. Oh, we use you over here in template. Ooh. Ugh, gross. That means I have another inconsistency between my config files and the template files, which live over here in app templates. This is connection templates. Yeah. Okay. So this needs to be a change. We got to put this back for now. We have to change this on the server side as well when we get there. So we want to do this probably in a separate commit, separate branch even, just to keep things kind of relatively organized. So let me go make a note to myself here. I might already have one, actually. Let's take a little look-see. Names and tiles added, but to add new connections. I don't know if we'll double check. I don't think I did that yet. That's why we leave ourselves notes. It's on my to-do list still. Okay, we'll have to go through this before we completely merge this, but we're going to add this. Fix map files so that the DCs are a child object. C connection templates in editor for ease of working with in the future. Let's put you up here so you don't get lost in the shuffle. All right, let me put that back down here for later me to worry about. Okay, but for now, we'll leave this. Replace this with unmarshal when we fix map files on server. I don't suppose I could make you an issue, but I don't want to. I could do this. There we go. And I'm going to leave myself, I'm going to edit this title really quick. To do in connection model. Dart. Remind myself to go back there. Okay. That'll get us going for now, though. We put you back. Just go ahead and restart that. We got no errors throwing up anymore. Okay. And it was 3-2 to 2. No. 3-1 to 2-1? Yeah, okay, so we're still good there. Okay. For now, that'll get us to write a file we can read again. What else do we need? Okay, so we put you in there. Oh, we still need to handle when a connection data it's not a connection data. It's the wrong name. I need to fix those names because I get confused by them, and that's never a good sign. It's because they're connection tiles. Nope, that's the UI portion. Oh my gosh, what are you? What do I do with you? Let's see here. Map details. Save tile changes. I need to go to app controller. Update tile. Connection data. You are connection data. Okay. But that's not what gets put into the map. Connection tile data. Connection tile. Connection tile goes into the map. Get connections. Yeah, okay. These guys. Only if these aren't null. Okay, so what we can do is in our saving function here, we don't look for connection data. I need to make sure it's actually room data that goes in them and not like a room tile. In fact, it is a room tile. No? It is room data. Okay. So if it's a connection tile, if we have to cast you. Not connection data, connection tile. Duh. If this is greater than 0, then we do this. Let's just do this. Yeah, no, that was correct. We do this. And then we say, my connection's length is greater than 0 for connection data in connections. We add. I didn't give you a name. That will help. Okay. And then this says is not empty. Okay, yeah. Hey, thanks for the follow there. Appreciate that. Okay. So if you're not empty, then we add whatever we get in there to our list that we're building up here. And at the end of all of that, we take our map data. We should have a file location set at this point. We do when we load map. And we set it when we create a new map. Okay, yes. So we should be able to say, I think you're, do I not have path in here? I don't. I also don't know... my directory. This should be the full path. Do I want to worry about cleaning it up in here? We just read, we assume you give me a good path, and we throw errors. I think... we could do a quick check up here. We're going to get rid of that because we're going to assume we get a good path that we loaded from. Look at my docs here. It should truncate if it exists already. That's fine. Exists method. Here we go. Exists. System entity with this path exists. File system entity. But then I would need to... okay. So basically what I do is I say... if you don't exist... oops. Already got IO. I just need to go file. How do I negate the await? Okay, just like that apparently. Okay. We'll just say map file does not exist. That's fine. So we've checked it. We do all the work to build it up. We need to then that makes it a map. Is that the correct? Hang on a second. I gotta review this again. I can do JSON encode as well. current state. And then map path. We verified you exist. Right is string sync. Here we go. Marshaled. Okay. Does this return an error? We should probably try catch you. Error writing map data to file. Wrong character. So that we throw that back up. Okay. So I think that gets us there. Let's just test if at 0, 0 we change this. I'm going to copy. Ooh, I can't copy that. That's annoying. Is it because you're read only? Okay. I haven't wired this up yet. Crap. I forgot that part. In here, we need to wire up save map. New map, load map, reload map, close map, change map details. Save map is going to say app controller save map. Okay. And then unsaved tile changes is false. Saved map changed rather is false. This should already be. This won't write any of those because those changes live in their forms. So it's only map changed. We notify listeners. Okay. Should theoretically. Oop, I forgot to wire it up to here though. Shouldn't need a hot reload should be enough for this in theory. Map pane, map pane, map pane. Save button needs to get wired up to save map. Save. Okay. Converting object to encodable object failed. Instance of map data. That ain't good. Didn't give me a whole heck of a lot of info there, did it? Let's see. In my tests, I do encoding and decoding. Let me see if I've messed that up. We do need to expand these tests anyway to handle testing the encoding and decoding. We test loading. Test the connections. It wouldn't be the controller, actually. It'd be the model. unmarshal from JSON. We do test marshalling to JSON. Which actually, we did make a change. We should run this really quick. Might actually shed some light. Okay, so we're passing there. Marshal map to JSON. We called to JSON there. That gives me a map, though. Where, I've done this in attributes and stuff as well. How did I do it over there? We'll do it the same way. Skills and attributes, attribute model to JSON. This one's a little different because we do a whole bunch of checking, but I do the actual saving here. Clone. This takes an on save, so it's not there. It's going to be in here. What? Where did I put my save? Would you be in the controller? It'd be in here. We do want this. Because we want this to be readable by humans. We do want that. And I'm okay with that living in map controller as opposed to this base. This doesn't implement that base. That's for a different thing. So I don't even need to do this part. I just need to set up the encoder. We can call you pretty encoder again. That's fine. With indent, character is a tab. Like so. And then here. Items. Except for that's going to be write a string sync. Pretty encoder. Convert. Current state. Oop. Okay. Let's see. Apply that. Okay, that seems all right. Nope. Unless that's the old one. I don't know. Let's find out. Test map where you changed. Let's look for 513. But that would be at the end of a string? No. It would be 513 and then there. There we go. Okay. So that didn't, no, it didn't change. Let's go ahead and do this really quick, just to be sure. Two, one. That wasn't the one we tried before. It was 0, 0. Okay. Let's just make sure it's the same error really quick before we get too far. Okay. So it did fail to convert, so I have a bug in there someplace. Does not give me a ton of info on why. Okay, so we need to expand testing on this to figure out what has gone awry. The tests still pass. And this should be calling the same to JSON. So either this is messed up. That would have to be it, wouldn't it? This would have to be somehow wrong, but it doesn't error. Okay. It's going to be a bigger job to track that down. And I'm just about to hit the 4-hour mark. So I'm going to call it here for today. Tomorrow we'll figure out. Tomorrow's Monday, right? Check. What day is it? Yes, tomorrow's Monday. So tomorrow we'll figure out what's wrong here so that we can get things saving. But thank you to everybody who came to hang out with me today. It was good to see those of you who I've seen before. Good to meet those of you who are new. I would love to see you again. I do this thing roughly 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, starting on Friday and ending on Monday. So come on back tomorrow around 10 a.m. Central Time, and I should be here doing more of it. If I don't see you, then you have a great week anyway. We'll catch you some other time on down the road. Thanks again, everybody. Bye.